Biden is looking to close his two-day virtual Summit for Democracy today by shining a spotlight on election integrity, countering authoritarian regimes, and bolstering independent media. On the summit's first day, he announced plans for the U.S. to spend up to $424 million around the world to support independent media, anti-corruption work, and more. Wednesday News Time 2:55.
The best way to feel love is to share it. That's why Subaru created the Subaru Share the Love event. This year, we're continuing to share the love with nearly 800 charities participating from our local communities. Subaru and its participating retailers donated more than $26 million to help those in need last year. And by the end of this year, our 14th, donations will total more than $225 million. When you get a new Subaru, now through January 3rd, Subaru will donate $250 to your choice of charity partners. The ASPCA, Make-A-Wish, Meals on Wheels, or the National Park Foundation. Together, we can make everyone's journey easier. So don't miss this year's Subaru Share the Love event, now through January 3rd. Stop by your Subaru retailer today, because better happens when we all pitch in. The 2021 Subaru Share the Love event, now through January 3rd.
Wednesday time 2:56 now. Bloomberg Money Watch. Here's Andrew O'Day.
The big break it looked last week like we were going to get on oil and gasoline prices might not happen, at least not like it first appeared. Oil futures crashed last week as the emerging Omicron variant convinced traders that travel would be heavily curtailed. Instead, what's been curtailed this week are the doomsday predictions surrounding Omicron's global economic effect as cases appear mild and booster shots show efficacy. Oil futures rose 1% today, more than 8% on the week. All the Omicron talk is creating a headache for a company with a timely name. The U.S. Office of Austria's Omicron Electronics tells the Boston Business Journal the new variant's moniker is an unfortunate and hopefully short-lived coincidence. Delta Airlines knows something about that. The carrier CEO has still refused to call the presently dominant COVID strain the Delta variant, instead using its clumsier scientific name B16172. Wall Street looks to end a mostly up week on an up note. Dow up 108, Nasdaq up 30, S&P 500 rising 24. Bloomberg Money Watch at 26:56 past every hour. I'm Andrew O'Day for 1010 Wins.
Wednesday time 2:57.
The views expressed in the following commercial message are solely those of the advertiser.
The following message is paid for by the Coalition for Quality Long-Term Care.
This is Michael Balboni, Executive Director of the Coalition for Quality Long-Term Care. Through the efforts of Governor Kathy Hochul, there will be no strike of nursing home workers in the state of New York. Her efforts address the very real issue of how our healthcare workers were impacted while caring for our most vulnerable. To the governor, the nursing home industry, and those that depend upon its care, thank you. But the need to address strategic issues that threaten the future of our nursing homes are on the horizon. Unenforceable staffing laws, such as staffing ratios when there were staffing shortages even before COVID, will need to be questioned, examined, and amended if we are to prevent yet another healthcare crisis. Equally important, Medicaid funding cuts that threaten the quality of care provided to our seniors and residents. Supporting fair wages for those who care for our loved ones, everyone wants that. Preventing the closing of New York's nursing homes, that's going to take a lot more work, and it needs to start now.
Hi, I'm Steve Harris, founder of Harris Law. Sometimes bad things just happen. That's what the Board of Ed told Robbie's mom after a first-grade classmate stuck a pencil in her son's eye. Despite 3 surgeries and partial vision loss, the city denied all responsibility. We got him $1.5 million. I'll tell you how right after this.
Have you been the victim of negligence or malpractice? Harris Law, New York's premier injury law firm, is a tough, dedicated legal team that will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call 212-593-7600 or visit harrislawnyc.com.
We showed how a poorly trained substitute teacher with a history of being unable to control students was alone in Robbie's classroom. That's how we proved negligence, and that's how we got Robbie $1.5 million.
Call Harris Law today, 212-593-7600 or harrislawnyc.com. The consultation is free. The compensation could be millions.
WINS, WINS HD, WNEW HD3 New York.
An Odyssey station. 1010 Wins. Winds AccuWeather says cloudy tonight with a couple of showers late, low 46 degrees here in the city. Tomorrow, a shower in spots early, otherwise increasingly windy, turning much warmer. We could hit 64 degrees. That's a record, by the way, set back in 1879. Sunday, much more seasonable. Windy, chilly. It'll be sunny, high 49. The real feels in the 30s. But temperatures next week will be in the 50s. Right now, 49 degrees. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. Heather Bermudez is our service aide. Walter Geist is writing. Kyle McMorrow at the editor's desk. I'm Lori Madden.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds, New York.
Good afternoon, 49 degrees, partly sunny skies at 3 o'clock. I'm Larry Mullins, and here's what's happening. A statewide mask mandate, governor's order starting Monday. City dwellers probably won't get too riled up about it because we're already doing it or showing proof of a vax. But some of the outlying areas are starting to feel a certain way about it. We'll have details. Also today, the governor rolled out a new initiative aimed at getting families off the streets and into their own homes. It'll bring voucher payments for families up to 100% of fair market. More on that. Oh, but one of the big vendors on the Coney Island Boardwalk are getting a new lease. The city worked out a new deal today, granting 10-year leases, although one place is still a question mark. Exercise bike maker Peloton responding after somebody died of a medical condition on the set of the new Sex and the City reboot. No name release. We'll tell you what we know, though, here in a moment. And Michael Nesmet died today. He was with the Monkees, of course, arguably one of the first blueprints of what we now call boy bands. The guitarist died at the age of 78. The market's still looking decent ahead of the close, with the Dow up 129 points on this Friday. Details in Money Watch. The AccuWeather says a mild afternoon with a mix of sunny clouds and a high of 50 degrees. When's news time? 3:01. From the traffic center, here is Greg Rice.
So if you've been on the southbound New Jersey Turnpike the last couple of days and you think somebody is out to get you, I'm not going to tell you you're right, but I'm not going to tell you you're wrong either. Southbound today, it's the eastern spur of the Turnpike at the Vince Lombardi. 2 right lanes are knocked out with a wreck. That's loading everybody up on the Turnpike from right off of 80 until you get to the split. From there, go to the western spur because southbound eastern spur, yeah, we're not done. Southbound your 15X, that's another wreck knocking out the left lane. So southbound western spur, for all of its falls today, that's the one that you want. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Citybound George, good enough for now to be upper and lower. West side northbound a wreck in the 90s. Everything else bad to the bridge. Lincoln Tunnel's about 15 minutes in, mainly on the inbound helix. Outbound side 20 minutes. Worst of it's off of 11. Holland 20 plus out. Inbound the next to 20 from the Skyway. Outbound back in Jersey. Both the Skyway and Newark Bay have a bit of a backup, so none worse than the other. Queensbound Whitestone, Citybound Midtown Tunnel, Brooklyn-bound Brooklyn Bridge, all bunched up already. I'm Greg Rice on 1010 Winds.
We at Plaza Jewish Community Chapel would like to remind you that candle lighting is at 4:10 this afternoon. Good Shabbos and Shabbat Shalom.
Well, not the best weekend on record, but at least it'll be somewhat dry and with a bit of sun by the time we get to Sunday. We want to get you ready for the weekend now so you can make your plans to go shopping for my Christmas present. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson with the forecast. Brian.
At least it won't be that cold this weekend, Larry. That's the good news. You won't have to wear heavier coats if you're going to be around, especially tomorrow. Almost light jacket weather as they're going to be out ahead of a cold front. There's going to be a pretty gusty southwesterly wind, but it's going to bring in a lot of warm air. It will be near a high of 64 tomorrow, which would tie the record in Central Park. Most of tomorrow during the day will be dry, with just a stray shower or two. We'll have the better chance for some rain tomorrow evening as the front goes through. Might even have a gusty thunderstorm as it will turn windy tomorrow night, and the wind will stick with us into Sunday too. Well, a lot of sunshine, but it will be a chillier day with highs back in the 40s. Larry?
Thank you, Brian. Now let's talk about the mask mandate, everybody. Starting Monday, indoor businesses in New York State will have to either require employees and patrons to be fully vaccinated or they need to put on a mask. That comes from the big boss, Governor Kathy Hochul, who says these metrics are going up, folks, and New York isn't going down without a fight. Here's Samantha Liebman.
Governor Hochul says with COVID cases up 43% since Thanksgiving and a new variant, the state is entering a time of uncertainty, coupled with 32 hospitals at less than 10% capacity. She says healthcare workers are burnt out.
21 months after everyone called them heroes and celebrated them, that people would not do the right thing, and to make sure that they took the steps so we didn't have a healthcare crisis. But we do have a crisis. I'm making sure it doesn't get any worse.
The governor says vaccination rates are lagging in some areas, and county leaders asked for help prompting the new mandate.
I have 2 priorities. protects the public health of New Yorkers, but also protects the health of the economy.
Local health departments left to issue $1,000 fines for noncompliance, which she expects the mandate to be reevaluated January 15th. Samantha Leapman, 1010 Wins on the West Side.
Yeah, folks here in the city are already doing it for the most part. You can't get into a place without a mask or without showing proof that you've been poked in the arm. But people in the outer stretches might be wondering, what kind of haircut is that? Newsman Roger Stern tonight from Bronxville.
Just as in the city, the responsibility for enforcing the rule will fall on merchants. Brendan owns the Beer Noggin Bar in Bronxville and explains how he feels.
It's frustrating that we're going to have to be the police check vaccination, but understood that we got to do whatever we can to protect the public and our customers.
Down the block, Dimitri manages the Bronxville Diner and says it's ultimately about serving the customer.
They're comfortable with masks on and they feel safer that way, then yeah, I believe that's what we should do.
And among his customers, Carolyn from Yonkers is on board.
As long as there's a risk of people spreading germs, that is an okay thing to ask for.
Roger Stern, 1010 Wins in Bronxville.
And Governor Hochul's been pretty busy today. She also signed the legislation aimed at helping thousands of New York families move out of homeless shelters and into their own homes.
You cannot walk the streets of New York without seeing this human catastrophe, this humanitarian crisis. These are God's children as well. They are our fellow brothers and sisters. They deserve the dignity of a roof over their head.
Somebody said that'll preach. The Family Homelessness and Eviction Protection Program will bring voucher payments for families up to 100% of fair market set by the federal government. It also expands access to more families. A helping hand on the way for some of the businesses on Coney Island's boardwalk.
Coney Island's boardwalk is already set to get a $100 million makeover for the first time in nearly a century. Now, the independent restaurants like Paul's Daughter, Ruby's Bar and Grill, and Tom's Coney Island are set to see rent reductions under a city plan that incorporates the iconic amusements. And Ruby's proprietor, Michael Sorrell, says it can't come soon enough.
It's good for the community. It's good for me personally. It's good for other boardwalk businesses. I mean, it's a win-win. There's no, I hear little tinges of opposition. I just can't figure out why.
The city still has to sign off on the deal. Sorrell says his rent was set to go up 180% from pandemic levels. Julie Walker, 1010 Wins News.
1010 Wins AccuWeather, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers around late. A low of 46 degrees. You get a shower in some spots early tomorrow, otherwise increasingly windy. Turning out warmer, too, with variable cloudiness and a high near current record of 64. And then tomorrow night, quite windy with periods of rain early, even a gusty thunderstorm coming through tomorrow night. Clouds giving way to clearing, though, as the day goes on. We'll get to a low of 45. 49 degrees right now in Central Park. Wednesday news time 3:07. Rutgers will be among the 10 universities in the U.S. getting a grant from Homeland Security. That's to study terror attacks at places like schools, malls, hospitals, sports arenas. School officials say they'll use the $3.6 million to work on high-tech solutions to combating terror threats and keeping folks safe in general. If their work is successful, hopefully it will be. Rutgers says it could lead to changes in the way police and other first responders react to terror attacks and other emergencies. We've been warning you all week on 1010 Wins that it won't be just one Santa Claus coming to town. It'll be a whole suitcase satchel full of them when SantaCon returns from its one-year pandemic hiatus tomorrow in the city. Glenn Treacher is the owner of the Liberty NYC. That's one of the stops along the route, while past years have devolved into fistfights among Santas and a whole lot of public vomiting. Treacher told our Bridget Quinn today on 1010 Wins Newsline that he's expecting this year's event to be more tame about holiday happiness than holiday rowdiness. He also says he's not worried about SantaCon becoming a COVID super spreader.
Everyone who comes in has to be checked for a vaccination card or pass. So all bars and restaurants have constantly been doing that already. So there's no change there. We're very lucky in the fact that we have an outdoors and the indoors and downstairs for a quieter area. So we are very much looking forward to anyone and everyone turning up.
Yeah, the fun starts tomorrow morning at 10 with the initial meetup on Broadway and 40th Street. Wins News Time, 3:09.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer. Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with Ziprecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, Ziprecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on Ziprecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try Ziprecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.